Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a frustrating yet all too common situation. When a woman suddenly pulls away for no apparent reason. Everything was going great. She was texting first, replying quickly, calling and flirting. You felt like the connection was strong. Then, out of nowhere, something changed. She became distant. The messages stopped. The calls disappeared. And now you're left wondering, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Should I reach out or give her space? This is where most men make critical mistakes that push her even further away. But don't worry, this video will break it down for you. We'll uncover the 5 most common mistakes men make when a woman pulls away, and, more importantly, a simple 2-step strategy to re-attract her and reignite that connection. This might be one of the most valuable videos you'll ever watch regarding dating, so stick around until the end. Let's get started. But before we get into the details, we must understand one crucial thing. Why do women stay away? Everything is going well. She laughs at your jokes, responds to your messages, and appears genuinely interested. Then, out of nowhere, she becomes distant. Her texts slow down, her enthusiasm fades, and the warmth you once felt disappears. Most men panic at this stage. They double down on their efforts, send longer messages, try to get a response, or worse, confront her about the behavior change. But this reaction only pushes her further away. Most men fail to realize that it's rarely a conscious decision when a woman pulls away. It's not that she sat down and planned to test you. It's a deeper instinct at play. Women are naturally drawn to strength. Not just physical, but emotional and psychological. At some point, whether intentionally or not, she will withdraw to see how you respond. It's not manipulation. It's a way of determining whether your confidence is absolute or just a performance. When things are easy, anyone can appear self-assured. Compliments, affection, and attention act as a cushion, making confidence effortless. But what happens when those things disappear? That's the actual test. Do you remain composed, unaffected, and grounded in your self-worth? Or do you crumble, overanalyze, and chase after her approval? The answer to this question determines whether you are perceived as strong or weak. The worst thing a man can do in this situation is react emotionally. If you let her sudden distance dictate your actions, if you start questioning, pleading, or becoming upset, you confirm her doubts. It signals that your confidence was never absolute, but dependent on her validation. Instead of making her feel drawn to you, this behavior makes her lose respect and interest. The correct response is simple. Do nothing. Stay steady, stay composed, and continue living your life as if nothing changed. If she genuinely values you, she will return. If she doesn't, then she was never truly invested in the first place. Women are naturally drawn to men who are secure enough to handle distance without seeking reassurance. When you respond with unshaken confidence, you communicate that you are a man who doesn't need to chase, and that, more than anything, makes her want to come back. However, not all men can maintain that calm and confident demeanor. Many men unintentionally make serious mistakes when dealing with a woman's distance. These mistakes make the situation worse and push her further away. Here are 5 common mistakes men often make when a woman is distant. 1. Over-contacting. She used to reply instantly, sending texts filled with excitement, emojis, and curiosity. But now, something has shifted. The replies come slower, shorter, and colder. At first you brush it off, maybe she's just busy, but as the hours turn into days, a quiet panic sets in. What happened? Did you do something wrong? That's when the instinct kicks in, the urge to regain control. You send another text, something casual, hoping to restart the momentum. No reply. Maybe she didn't see it. You check her social media. She's online. She just liked someone else's post. You send a follow-up text, maybe even a joke to lighten the mood. Still nothing. The anxiety builds. Before you realize it, you've called twice, left a voice message, and scrolled through your past conversations, searching for clues. You're caught in a spiral, desperately trying to pull her back. But instead of bringing her closer, your actions push her further away. What feels like an attempt to reconnect signals something deeper: neediness. And neediness is the fastest way to kill attraction. Women are highly attuned to emotional strength, often in ways they don't consciously recognize. When a man remains composed, unshaken by shifts in attention, he signals confidence and security. But when he chases, texting, calling, checking in, he reveals an emotional dependency that is instinctively unattractive. It tells her that his emotional state is tied to her responses, and that he needs her engagement to feel secure. And nothing makes a woman pull back faster than feeling like she's become the center of a man's world too soon. This is why the men who seem effortlessly desirable are the ones who don't overreact. When a woman withdraws, they don't chase. They understand that attraction isn't built through constant validation, but through presence, mystery, and restraint. A confident man doesn't flood her inbox trying to prove his worth. He doesn't beg for attention. Instead, he remains unfazed, continuing his life, knowing that genuine interest doesn't need to be forced. The paradox is this: the less you seek her validation, the more valuable you become. Women gravitate toward men who seem self-sufficient and don't rely on external approval to feel whole. When she senses that you're a man who can walk away, who won't panic at the first sign of distance, she starts to wonder about you. And that curiosity, more than any perfectly crafted text or grand gesture, draws her back in. 2. Confessing feelings. A man feels the connection slipping away. Maybe she's responding less, maybe her enthusiasm seems to have faded, or perhaps she's simply not as available as she once was. Panic sets in. He fears losing his chance, and in a desperate attempt to bring her back, he decides to lay everything on the table. He tells her how much he likes her, how special she is, how he doesn't want to lose her. He hopes that by expressing his emotions openly, she will see how much he cares and realize that she should stay. But instead of drawing her closer, his confession creates the opposite effect, pushing her away. The weight of his words doesn't inspire affection. It places pressure on her. It forces her into a position where she must immediately decide how she feels, often before she's even had the chance to process the relationship entirely. When a woman is still exploring her emotions, being confronted with a sudden confession can feel overwhelming. Instead of making her feel excited, it makes her feel cornered. Beyond the pressure, there's another layer at play. His confession reveals an uncomfortable truth, that his emotional state depends on her approval. Attraction isn't built on emotional dependence, it's built on confidence, allowing emotions to develop naturally without forcing them into existence. When a man confesses too soon, what she hears isn't just his words, it's the unspoken message behind them. I need you to feel the same way about me. I need this to work. That kind of neediness isn't attractive. It's suffocating. Women are drawn to men who make them feel something, not men who plead for feelings in return. When a man tries to secure her affection through words rather than presence, mystery, and shared experiences, he shifts from being someone she's intrigued by to someone trying too hard. The right approach isn't about forcing emotions to the surface, but allowing them to develop at their own pace. Let the connection grow naturally, Let her wonder about you and experience the highs and lows that create actual emotional attachment. The most memorable men aren't the ones who confess first. They're the ones who make a dynamic where she wants to admit to them. 3. Getting angry. A man feels the shift before he fully understands it. The text responses become slower, her enthusiasm fades, and suddenly she's distant. Frustration builds. He replays their last conversation, searching for clues. Did he say something wrong? Was there a moment he missed? The uncertainty gnaws at him, and before he knows it, he reacts. He might cut her off entirely, deleting her number, blocking her, or issuing an ultimatum. Tell me what's going on, or I'm done. But this emotional reaction doesn't bring her closer. It confirms her decision to pull away. Women are deeply attuned to emotional stability in men. If the slightest withdrawal of attention sends him into a spiral, she sees it as a sign of weakness. She realizes that his confidence is conditional and that his calmness depends on her presence. And once that illusion shatters, attraction fades completely. The men who maintain their power in these situations don't react impulsively. They understand that emotional control is more attractive than any grand gesture. When a woman pulls away, it's often not about him. It's about her emotions, insecurities, or even a subconscious test of his strength. The worst thing he can do is prove that her absence destabilizes him. Instead of acting out, the right move is to remain centered. He doesn't chase, demand answers, or shut down in anger. He simply continues as if nothing changed, because nothing has happened in his world. He isn't reliant on any one person for his emotional balance. When she realizes that her withdrawal didn't shake him, that he didn't crumble at the first sign of distance, curiosity replaces disinterest. He replaces disinterest. She starts to wonder why he isn't affected, and in that moment he regains the upper hand, not through force, but through the quiet strength of indifference. 4. Apologizing excessively. A woman begins to pull away, and suddenly a man finds himself trapped in an endless loop of self-analysis. Did I say something wrong? Was I too distant, too needy? He replays every interaction in his head, convinced he must have been the problem. Instead of holding his ground and maintaining his sense of self, he scrambles to fix what he assumes he broke, and the first thing he reaches for, an apology. But he's not just apologizing for honest mistakes. He's apologizing for things he never did wrong. "I'm sorry if I upset you," he says, unsure if she was upset. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable," he adds, though she never said she was. These words spill out not from a place of genuine remorse, but from a deep-seated fear of losing her. He believes that if he reassures her enough, she'll return if he just says the right thing. Yet, counterintuitively, every unnecessary apology only drives her further away. A man who constantly apologizes signals uncertainty, insecurity, and a lack of confidence in his worth. Instead of seeing him as strong and steady, she starts to see him as weak. He believes his apologies will reassure her, but they do the opposite. They confirm her doubts, validating the reasons she was pulling away in the first place. Attraction thrives on certainty presence, and a man's ability to stand firm even when things feel uncertain. A woman doesn't want a man who second-guesses himself at every turn. She wants a man who trusts himself, who recognizes that not every energy shift requires a desperate attempt to fix things. The most decisive move in these moments isn't to overcompensate with words. It's to step back, let the tension settle, and allow her to feel the weight of his presence, not the weight of his apologies. 5. Questioning self-worth. Rejection stings, but the danger isn't losing the girl. What happens inside a man's mind afterward? Some men take rejection at face value, shrug it off, and move on. Others, however, internalize it. They repeatedly replay the moment, searching for reasons, convincing themselves they weren't enough. Maybe it was their looks, their job, their personality. Perhaps things would have gone differently if they had been more confident, charming, and booming. The problem isn't the rejection itself. It's the belief that follows. I wasn't good enough. Once this mindset takes root, it doesn't just affect that one situation. It bleeds into every future interaction. A man who once approached women with ease now hesitates, second-guesses himself, and assumes he'll fail before he even begins. His confidence shrinks. His energy shifts from bold and self-assured to cautious and insecure. Even when he meets a genuinely interested woman, he might sabotage himself by overthinking or seeking too much validation. The irony is that the more he doubts himself, the more he reinforces the very thing he fears. Confidence is attractive because it signals self-worth, and the moment a man starts questioning his value, it shows. Women pick up on it, not in his words but in the slight hesitation in his voice, the way he holds himself, the way he reacts when things don't go his way. He unknowingly creates a cycle where his insecurity repels women, which only deepens his belief that he's not enough. Breaking free from this mindset starts with a straightforward truth. Rejection is not a statement of worth. It's not proof that something is wrong with him. Sometimes attraction just isn't there. Sometimes a woman is dealing with her issues. Sometimes it's simply bad timing. When a man stops personalizing rejection and instead sees it as part of the process, he regains control. He no longer approaches interactions from a place of fear, but from curiosity and abundance. He understands that one rejection, 10 rejections, means nothing in the grand scheme of his life. And the moment he carries himself like a man who knows his worth, everything changes. So what if he wants to win her back? Once a man regains his confidence and self-worth, he no longer has to chase desperately. Instead, he can attract from a position of strength. That's where a two-step strategy to win her back comes into play. 1. Give her space. When a woman pulls away, it's often a test, a quiet challenge. She may retreat emotionally or physically to see if you'll chase after her, scrambling to regain her attention. Most men instinctively react by clinging, over-texting, or bombarding her with questions. But the key to keeping her intrigued is not to chase, but to give her space. Instead of pursuing her when she withdraws, take a step back. Focus on your own life, your goals, and your happiness. This approach may seem counterintuitive, significantly when you're invested in her. But the truth is, when you let her have space, you signal something compelling: confidence and emotional resilience. You show that your happiness isn't dependent on her attention. You can stand alone and won't collapse when she pulls back. This emotional independence becomes magnetic. She starts to see you not as a man who needs her, but as a man who can thrive whether she's there or not. As you continue to focus on your path, you create a sense of mystery. She may wonder why you're not chasing her anymore. The distance gives her room to miss you, and curiosity begins to creep in. The fact that you don't react to her withdrawal with desperation makes you far more attractive. Instead of feeding her ego or putting her on a pedestal, you maintain your composure. This is not about playing games. It's about embodying the emotional stability that makes you irresistible. When you stop chasing her, she starts chasing you. It's a natural response to your confidence and emotional strength. The more you show that your life doesn't revolve around her, the more she'll want to be a part of it. 2. Spike her emotions when she returns. When she comes back into your life, don't expect it to be a simple restart. She may still be unsure of her feelings, uncertain of where things stand. This is where many men go wrong. They rush in, eager to make up for lost time, diving back into the relationship with the same intensity, but this approach rarely works in your favor. Instead of rushing back into her arms, take a step back and understand that the moment requires emotional strategy, not just impulsive action. Fueled by excitement, most men make the mistake of escalating things too quickly. They immediately ask her out, shower her with affection, or over-communicate to win her back. While this might feel like the right move in the heat of the moment, it's a sign of desperation. She'll feel overwhelmed and your progress will be undone. In these situations, the key to success is in restraint, holding back just enough to keep her interested without giving everything away at once. Instead of rushing into action, it's time to engage her emotionally. The best approach is to keep the interaction playful and light, but with a bit of challenge. Tease her, make her laugh, and leave her wanting more. This doesn't mean playing games for the sake of it, but rather maintaining a balance that keeps her emotionally engaged. She wants to see if you're still the man who made her feel something exciting, so give her just enough to spark her emotions without fully satisfying her curiosity. This dynamic keeps her invested in the interaction and thinking about you when you're not around. As the days pass, you'll notice a shift in her behavior. She may start texting more, calling to check in, or dropping hints about wanting to meet. These minor signs are her way of showing interest and testing the waters. It's a green light for you to take things forward, but only when the emotional connection has deepened enough for her to feel secure. If you've kept her emotionally hooked without rushing, she'll now be more open to seeing where things can go. At this point, it's time to take the next step, but do so confidently, knowing that the emotional foundation has been built on your terms. Patience, emotional intelligence, and restraint are key to making this return meaningful. Keep her interested without rushing into anything. Soon enough, she will pursue more. Attraction isn't about convincing a woman to stay. It's about becoming a man she doesn't want to walk away from. When a woman pulls away, the worst thing you can do is panic, chase, or try to force her back. Instead, the most brilliant move is to remain composed, give her space, and focus on yourself. This signals confidence, emotional resilience, and independence, which reignite attraction. Women respond to emotional engagement, not logical persuasion. You naturally draw her back by staying grounded and balancing challenge and reward. But remember, the goal isn't just to win her back. It's to become the kind of man who never has to worry about losing her in the first place. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever faced this situation? How did you handle it? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights on attraction, dating, and self-improvement. See you in the next one.